We have to make sure America writes the rules of the global economy. Because if we don't write the rules for trade around the world, guess what? China will.
Let me start with the economy and a basic fact. The United States of America, right now, has the strongest, most durable economy in the world. Anyone claiming that America's economy is in decline is peddling fiction. Now,
2008, which everybody missed, the people that we pay a lot of money to look out for these kind of things. It happened anyway, but we were told, look, it's okay, we've done the bailout, we've got plenty of safeguards, it can't happen again. Why is it happening again?
Colin, the first thing you need to learn is don't listen to governments, don't listen to bureaucrats, and don't listen to politicians. They always say everything is okay. There were people who before 2008 said it was going to end badly. There have been people since who said it's going to end badly. So just start learning your own judgment, your own ideas, because the idea that the solution to more debt, to too much debt, is more debt and more spending is ludicrous. It's ludicrous that grown-ups would stand there and say something like that, and yet that's what governments all over the world have been doing.
Right.
I'll put it out right now.
I mean, you ain't gonna change what he said.
I can't do that. All right, but I am going to start on the American flag and pan up to you.
Okay.
All right, here we go. What's your name and why are you standing on the American flag?
Von Abdul, my teammates, Bay. I am not a fucking Muslim. I don't know why everybody get that twisted. You know what I'm saying? But fuck this flag. Fuck this country. You know what I'm saying? It's hypocritical. This red, white, and blue. This shit is the new swastika. You know what I'm saying? This is, yes it is. Yes it is.
We have concluded. Thank you for your participation.
In 2015, the French government indicted Baron David de Rothschild for embezzling large sums of money from British pensioners from 2005 to 2008 and for the violation of inheritance tax laws. In June of 2015, Paris-based Judge Javier Bermudez ruled that Baron Rothschild of the Rothschild Financial Services Group must face a trial for his crimes. That is, if they can find him in one of his many mansions scattered around France. Now the French government has opened another investigation into the Swiss Rothschilds unit. Bloomberg reports, the Swiss unit of Edmond de Rothschild said it's the subject of a French probe regarding a former business relationship managed by a former employee. Edmond de Rothschild is actively participating in the criminal investigation underway, the Geneva-based bank said in an emailed statement on Friday. Edmond de Rothschild, a private banking and asset management firm established in Paris in 1953, oversees about 150 billion euros, or $164 billion, and is led today by Baron Benjamin de Rothschild and his wife Ariane. From a Haaretz interview 6 years ago, Baron Benjamin de Rothschild was quoted as saying, "The United States is finished, at least for the moment, and I do not believe in God. I do not report to him." The Rothschild family is so wealthy, they don't regularly appear on any Forbes list of the world's wealthiest, and when they do, their true wealth is minimized. Their fortune would embarrassingly dwarf the multi-billions of Bill Gates or Warren Buffett. The Rothschild story is precariously embedded in the footnotes of world history. Nathan Rothschild became the largest debtor to the Bank of England until the bank was privatized in 1946. However, although the Bank of England is state-owned, 97% of the UK's money supply is still privately controlled in the form of interest-bearing loans created by the Rothschild-dominated commercial banks. The Rothschilds' modern manipulation of the British economy is clearly evident in this clip, demonstrating Queen Elizabeth's inquiry into the downturn of the British economy.
And he and his group here are going to answer your question from 4 years ago, why nobody saw the crisis coming.
And after a brief explanation, another question, this time from the Duke.
There's not another one coming, is there?
The Queen's question was finally answered by Rothschild lackeys 4 years later, after the Queen personally had to visit the Bank of England to get an answer. The indictment of a Rothschild is not simply another dirty banker being brought to justice. The imprisonment of part of the controlling interest of civilization could gradually snowball, meaning a stop to endless wars, illegal mass surveillance, debt slavery, and a Luciferian cultural agenda. Basically, peace on earth. A bit much, you say. The Rothschilds financed both sides of the Napoleonic Wars, the American Revolution, the Communist Party revolution in Russia, the little-known Balfour Declaration, the Nazi Party, the creation of the Federal Reserve, 9/11, and the wars that followed. The Rothschilds own Reuters and the Associated Press and are the hidden hand controlling all media. Have you heard about this in the mainstream news? They either own or have compromised every U.S. and European political puppet with an elitist passion for worshipping Lucifer and an unyielding obsession to decrease the world population by 90% by legal means. Means the Rothschilds are on the verge of completely acquiring via the United Nations.
The ultimate advantage, listen to this, that the creditor has over a king or a president is that if the ruler gets out of line, the banker can finance his enemy or his rival.
War, pandemic, economic turmoil, natural disaster, terror attack, false flag, or real. In our modern times, these are all very real reasons to prepare for times of crisis. This list, however, is excluding the worst-case scenario, which is also the most likely to occur. EMP, or an electromagnetic pulse. Whether such a disaster is caused by a terror attack or nature, the results will be unimaginable. No lights, no appliances, your cell phone will not work, and your car isn't going to start. Worst yet, the power will not be turned back on for at least an entire year. The spread of the damage will cover almost the entire Western continent. That's no lights, no heat, no refrigeration, and no plumbing. Society will ultimately break down. A 2008 study predicts that in the case of such an event, 90% of Americans will die after the first year. You heard me right, 90%.
They have got to get the mindset that it doesn't get better. They are preparing, in essence, for the total siege. Look at Argentina. Look at the history of the world. Look at the siege of Stalingrad. Start getting realistic. And I'll tell you this, Alex, if someone, and I'm not picking on the caller, this is the best advice I can give. If you have to ask that question, you haven't done your homework. First thing, though, get right with God. Second thing, pray and make it a matter of your chief input to find like-minded individuals.
Well, and it's good to seek, because I can talk the talk. I'm so busy fighting tyranny, I've not gotten as ready as I like to, and I offensively try to fight the globalists to affect the future battle space to change things. But the reason we all prepare is when you realize how evil the globalists are, and they're in control, and all their documents say they want to make you totally bankrupt and bring in a global depression, to bring in a global government. We don't know the hour or the time of that, but every indicator is they're accelerating their timetable to meet that.
Believe one, as the US-led bloc holds one of its biggest exercises since the Cold War.
There's an observable empirical fact that NATO is building up. It is surrounding Russia, encircling Russia with troops, threatening Russia with these kind of exercises. That's simply a fact. We also know from past experience that NATO and NATO countries' leaders are not to be believed on these kind of matters when they reassure Russia. For example, when George Bush Sr. said that NATO won't advance 1 inch to the east, and in fact every country that's joined the EU to the east has subsequently gone on to join NATO. So NATO assurances are not worth the paper that they're written on, or the oxygen that they're breathed out with. So no, they're not to be believed, and that the reality can be seen day by day with NATO's consistent ramping up of forces to the region.
But let's make fun of Alex Jones warning everybody. Let's just make a big joke out of it, okay? Because it's so much easier to have, let's not exaggerate, 250 something, according to Google articles, almost every one of them today attacking yours truly. They're behind, Steve?
Yeah, I think this is critical. The most important thing I would tell everybody, you know, that visits my site, in real time I put up the alert section. It's over on the right-hand side of my page. Alex, the reports coming in from people in the food processing business.
I want to hear this. Stay there. Thank you, caller.
Okay.
Stay with us. Third hour coming up.
Now it started, Alex. That's the thing. Let me get to the food thing. If you just said, Steve, what's the most important thing you know at this minute, which you're basically asking me, is I have people in the food production business, the biggest food producers, emailing me, calling me, saying, we just got the biggest orders in the history of our company in MREs, bigger than anything that was put forth by the government, and they're all going, their words, not mine, into underground caves and bunkers. Then people are all going, their words, not mine, into underground caves and bunkers. Then people are telling me that in some of like the areas of Pennsylvania and other areas of really key food production, bottom line is they're saying, Steve, we are seeing these purchase orders and they don't make sense. They're not going to any of our standard customers, the government, and they're all going, their words, not mine, into underground caves and bunkers. Then we fast forward, Alex, and I'm getting reports from all over the country, but first and foremost from some of the areas that are closest to these bases, okay? 236, some people say 250 underground bases in the United States, that the food is being diverted from the warehouses that basically furnish or provide all the goods to their supermarkets. The biggest supermarket in Fargo, North Dakota is having empty shelves because that people are coming in and buying everything, they're just not getting anything. So I say this, the great starving to compliance is underway. It's one thing to see rioting, it's another thing to see people upset philosophically, and rightly so, but the point is when they don't eat, that's when they riot. And the goal of the Illuminists, the goal of the Illuminati, the goal of one of the highest ranking Texas Illuminists I ever met, tried to convert him, I failed, meaning share Jesus with him. He said, I'm too far gone for that. I pledged my allegiance to the Prince of Darkness 20 years ago, but I will tell you how it's going to play out. That's a true story. I can tell you his name. The point being is it's starting to happen now. And this is you just ran through the historic litany of it. What happens when food disappears? Well, the next thing that when food disappears, nutrition gets hit. And that's why people should be buying every nutritional support product they can get. That's not a pitch. It's advice. Your calories are going to be cut.
Next video review of vitamin D3 and inositol. As always, click the link below this video.